Bueno, pues, ¿qué creen? Que tenemos un consejazo que está entrando con todo Tomaso y yo le pregunté, bueno, no, o sea, yo le dije, fíjate que yo me tomo mi malteada, hoy me tomé mi malteada con aguacate. Y él me dijo, espérate, ¿le pusiste proteína o sin proteína? Y yo, pues sí, sí le puse proteína. ¿Cuál le pusiste? Y yo, no, pues de la normal. Ah, y él me dijo, porque está la de isolada, o no sé cómo se dice, y la vegetal que él toma. Cuando después de que termina su ejercicio, él se toma la isolada para que rápido tenga toda la proteína. Y cuando quiere, como en vez de una comida, que se tome la proteína, pues se toma la vegetal. Ya lo sabemos. And now, I want to know, how is a morning in the life of Ciampa?
Different now because we have a 3.5-year-old, and she sleeps with us. So we wake up according to her schedule. I feel
Okay.
like with the little one, every 3 to 6 months, it changes. So it might be like
Okay.
there was a one point where I'd wake up early and I'd get my workout in before she woke up. Now she likes us to be a part of her routine. She wants to know where I am right away. So I wait with her in bed. We get breakfast made. We have breakfast all together. If she has school, we take her to school and then I go work out.
Oh.
If she has no school, it's usually her and mommy have some time when I exercise. But my routine is the same every day. It's take care of little one, take the dog for a walk. That's my warm up. And then I have a gym at my
Okay.
house. So I work out at my house. And then once I'm done, which is usually like around 11 a.m., I'm done with everything. And then it's just
Okay.
what daddy, daughter for the rest of the day, whatever she wants.
Ay, qué padre. So nice.
Yeah, she
And
runs my life.
yeah, I can tell that. But for how long you train?
I
How many
try,
hours?
warm up is 15, 20 minutes, and I try really hard to keep the workout, the weights to 1 hour. Sometimes it goes a little over. Sometimes it might be an hour, 20 minutes, hour, 30 minutes. But I try
Wow.
my best to keep it to an hour just so I don't overtrain. But now we're lucky. We just put a pool in,
Oh,
maybe
yummy.
4 weeks ago. So now a lot of the time after training, the little one has, maybe she's watched a show or played with some toys. By then she's kind of ready. It's 11 a.m. It's pretty hot in Orlando. We'll go swim
Uh-huh.
for like an hour after the workout, and then that tires her out. So it's good. It's good for everybody.
Wow, such a great life. But I have to
Nice.
confess that you have a great, great body. I mean,
I
for one
appreciate it.
hour,
Yeah,
I
mostly
train for 1 hour and look at this.
no, great. What are you talking about? Mostly it's diet though. I had a
Yeah.
nutritionist help me over the last 5 years. That's when I got my best results because I used to work out more before, and I think I looked worse because I just
Oh,
wasn't eating right and I was overtraining.
yeah.
So now I only work out now 4 days a week with weights, where I used to try to do 6, 7 days a week. So I actually scaled way back. But it's very intense. The workouts, they're very hard. That way I have more time to recover, plus the wrestling, plus the travel. But really it's the diet. I watch all my food. Like I weigh everything, I cook everything, I prep it myself. So that's what made the big difference for me is I don't eat any crappy food. Maybe one meal every week or two, but everything else is
Okay.
pretty much made at home, and I measure everything, weigh everything. So that's what did it for me. The nutritionist is really what changed everything for me.
Okay. Wow, a lot of information. Thank you for that. Your advices. I need to translate to the people.
Yeah,
Okay?
go.
Muy bien. Pues estábamos ahorita platicando acerca de cómo es una vida o sea, cómo es un día en la vida de Ciampa. Y me dijo, bueno, ahorita que tengo una nenita de 3 años y medio, pues la vida cambia completamente cada 3 o 6 meses. O sea, básicamente de que se levanta, está con ella un ratito, después la cuida la mamá y él se va a entrenar y entrena solamente 1 hora y media más o menos. Yo le dije, oye, pero ¿qué onda? Tienes un cuerpazazazo, ¿cómo les parece cuerpo? Todo es nutrición, me lo voy a meter en la cabeza. Porque tiene a una nutrióloga que le dice qué es lo que tiene que comer y básicamente él cocina y él hace todo. Ciampa cocina. Ok. So, cheat meals.
Yeah, I love them. I live for them.
Which kind of cheat meals you have
Uh,
in your diet? And how
so
many times per week?
once a week is the norm, unless I'm training for something big. If it's like a pay-per-view takeover, something like that, sometimes I'll wait 4 to 8 weeks. I won't have any. But if it's just the normal week or so, usually one meal a week. I love ice cream. Ice cream's my favorite.
Just one per week? Once per week?
Yeah, one meal. Yeah. But I mean, so I like my diet though. I like my food. I don't like I eat a lot. Like I think a lot of people think like, oh, if you starve yourself, you don't eat carbs. I mean, every day, you know, if it's a training day, I have bagels, I have cereal, I have a lot of rice and chicken and beef and stuff. So yeah, I'm every day I eat my normal food I'm happy with. But yeah, once a week I'll have, you know, either maybe dinner, go out with my wife and our little one. We might take her to a restaurant. If we don't do that, it could just be making food on the grill, you know, making burgers on the grill and not weighing it, not worrying about that, having, you know, French fries and normal stuff with it. But it's really desserts. That's what I crave the most. I crave ice creams or cookies or cakes, donut. There's a good donut place over here. So I'll do that once a week, and that usually keeps me satisfied.
Okay. And you, for example, you have to eat at your times, right? I mean, like the same time every day?
I'm not super strict about it. As long as I get the food in throughout the day, just because it's once you have children, it's harder because I really, whatever she wants to do, if she wants to go to, you know, because we live in Orlando, so if she wants to go to the parks like Disney or something, I might wait, you know, 5-6 hours at a time between meals, but I don't really stress over that. Like I used to worry more, but I noticed it doesn't matter as long as between waking up and going to bed I get everything in. It all kind of evens out. It's the same. So I don't worry too much with that. I usually have 5 meals a day, sometimes 6.
5. And more protein, right?
About 200 grams, like about my body weight in protein. A lot of carbs, like a lot of carbs. My high day of carbs is like 750 grams. It's high, a lot. Yeah. So.
Okay. I think this is the first time that I talk like so
nutrition.
long about the diet.
Usually, I feel like because of my Instagram stuff, I'm obviously very into the exercise and the nutrition. So a lot of times with interviews, I feel like people start talking, and then I'm very regimented, so I have a lot of information.
Oh, thank you so much. Because I'm training. I'm starting with training and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I live in Mexico City. Come on, it's full of tacos, enfrijoladas, chilaquiles. Amazing food.
Yeah.
So it's really hard.
Yeah. But the food's not going anywhere. That's how I always think. When I'm done wrestling, the food will still be there. So I'll just wait till I'm retired, and then I'll probably ease up and I'll eat whatever I want. So.
It's true. Thank you for that advice. A ver, gente, imagínense, me está diciendo algo muy importante. Estábamos hablando acerca de la dieta porque es que está muy cañón cómo es así perfecto su cuerpo. Y me dijo, a ver, lo más importante es una vez a la semana tienes que hacer un cheat meal. Y yo de que no puede ser. ¿A dónde se van mis brownies, mis pastelitos de zanahoria, mis donuts? No, una vez a la semana. Todo lo demás es que tienes que comer al menos 5 veces al día proteína, pero lo más importante son los carbohidratos. Recordemos que él es una superestrella de alto rendimiento, o sea, todo el tiempo está haciendo mucho ejercicio. Y me dijo, bueno, a veces, o sea, tengo una vida que hacer. Mi hija luego le gusta ir que a Disney, que los parques de diversiones, y yo, por ejemplo, no puedo comer las 3 veces o sea, cada 3 horas como me gusta. Entonces, hay que hacerse la idea, pero sí es muy importante saber que uno tiene que comer regularmente. Y el secreto es ese que me dijo que está increíble. Porque yo le decía, es que ¿cómo le haces? O sea, a mí me encantan los tacos y las... Y me dijo, la comida siempre estará ahí. Ahora sí, Tomaso, this is kind of, now you're like this, me like, yeah, the food will be there, don't worry.
Very relaxed usually here. Very chill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Ciampa, it seems to me that one of your many virtues is that you know the industry very well because your experience transcends all the years. So, I would like to know, how do you start in this business?
So where I grew up in Boston, Killer Kowalski School was about maybe a half hour from my house. And I started visiting his school when I was in high school. I would just go and watch classes because I wasn't allowed to start until after high school. And then after high school, his facility moved further from my house. But fortunately for me, the gym that I was a personal trainer at, one of the wrestlers was working out there, and I got to know him pretty well. And he told me to come down to the new school, and I was probably around 17, I think, when I started. And I just never stopped. The rule my parents had was I had to finish high school and I had to get my own car. So my first car was like a $500 beat up purple van, like real old van, like terrible, rusty, but just good enough to get me to the facility and back. And then the second I got the car, I just went, and that was my graduation present. Was I paid tuition for the wrestling school, and I started with Killers, and then from there it just snowballed. I ended up traveling kind of all over the country with it.
Okay. And what was the thing that keeps you there inside of the wrestling? What was the magic or something?
So I'll be honest, in the beginning, when I started, I think only like a few months in, I had to go get knee surgery from a football injury that I had in high school. I didn't really know how bad it was. And then there was a day that came when I was rehabbing where I was driving to the facility and I couldn't remember what exit it was on the highway. And I had to like look it up to get directions. And it's real weird, but I just remember thinking like, I never want this to happen again. I want to come here so often that I never forget where it is and I'm never uncomfortable. Because I was really shy as a kid. So I was really uncomfortable going to the school, new people. All of them were older than me at the time. It's just like grown men and women, you know, and I was just really shy and uncomfortable. So I just remember that moment of just thinking like, I have to come here so much that this becomes my home, because that's the only way I'm going to be comfortable and like get out of my shell and actually succeed. And from that day forward, I never missed a class. Like we would go legit 5 days a week. We did classes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and an open ring Wednesday. And me and two other guys, Ivar actually from the Viking Raiders.
Okay, yeah.
He was one of my first trainers. And this other guy, Max, he doesn't wrestle anymore. But we would go there every single day, 5 days a week, until it just became comfortable. And I think it's just one of those things where with wrestling, you learn early that the harder you try and the more work ethic you put in, the more likely you will succeed. Like you don't have to be the fastest or jump the highest. You don't have to be the tallest. And I was never the best athlete. So all I could ever do was like, well, I could work really hard. And that was always my mindset. I think I just learned really early, like if you just work really, really hard, you're probably going to do well. And I had a good group of guys with me, and that's what we did. We just put a lot of work in, and pretty much everyone in that group succeeded because Max got signed by WWE, Ivar's now with the Viking Raiders, and Brian Malonis became a really big staple of Ring of Honor. So all four of us did really well for ourselves.
Wow. It's a really nice story. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you have to push yourself to go out of the comfort zone, right?
Yeah, especially in wrestling, because like you're always, especially in WWE, I mean, you're playing larger than life characters, and it doesn't matter if that is exactly who you are at home. Like I think a lot of times people say, oh, just be yourself turned up. If I was myself turned up, I wouldn't be successful because I like my home time. Like I live in a bubble, you know, I don't do a lot of social media. Like I love being a dad. I love being a husband. We like to just stay home. We do our thing. Even if we go out, thank you. Even if we go to the parks or stuff, I'm friendly and I'm polite, but I like to keep to myself. So with wrestling, I feel like that's more of just, I get to kind of like just play a character. I like the acting of it. I don't feel like, oh, I'm Tommaso Whitney out here in front of you people. It's like, no, I'm Ciampa. Like he's his own person, and I can do things and say things as Ciampa that I wouldn't do as myself. And like, that's what I love about it. Cause it's like it's just a release. It's a really fun, like, I would love to try a movie one day, you know, just cause it's a really fun idea to me to like commit to a role and tell a story and just, you know, have people's emotions attached to it and then control how they feel, if they're happy or sad or clapping or angry. Like, I really enjoy the psychology of it all and just the storytelling of it all.
And I think it's the first time here. I mean, this show, I think we have like 2 years and a half or something with the
Mm-hmm.
brunch. And this is the first time that a superstar like open his heart in another way, you know, and share this kind of story. Because as you said, I mean, almost all of them, they say like, yes, you have to be you, and you know, but this is the first time, and it's another option that is an amazing option that just like be, I mean, you have to work so hard, and as well, that gives you another life, like
Yeah.
acting or
And
something.
hey, if you know, like a person like Kevin Owens or Steve Austin, they're kind of larger than life personalities. If you meet them outside of wrestling, they're in The Rock, and there's so many of them. They're just like, the whole room is drawn to them when they walk in the door. And that's
Yeah.
awesome. If you have that ability and you can just be yourself turned up, that's great. But for me,
Yes, of
it's kind of
course.
like, I don't want attention. Like, if I'm like out in public, I mean, if you stop me and ask for a photo, I'll always say yes, but I'm not craving attention. Like, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm happy to have a mask or a hoodie or whatever. I'm happy to just be dad and just be, you know, Tommaso. And so it just depends on the person. And, you know, it's different avenues for everybody. I don't think there's a
Yeah,
right and a wrong way. You just have to figure out what works for you.
exactly. Wow. Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias, Ciampa. Muy bien. A ver. Wow, ya sé que me largué muchísimo y lo voy a tratar de acortar. A ver, ahí les va. La pregunta fue que, ¿cómo empezó? O sea, sabemos que lleva mucho tiempo, pero ¿cómo empezó en la industria? Y me dijo, bueno, yo antes estaba jugando fútbol americano, que nosotros le decimos aquí, no sé cómo le digan en Latinoamérica, pero americano. Y entonces, en el lugar donde entrenaba, me encontré a alguien que entrenaba lucha y empecé con él a los 17 años. Y desde ahí su familia le dijo, ok, lo único que tienes que hacer para poder estar donde tú quieres estar es terminar la secundaria, la prepa, y tener un coche. Y él dijo, done, ya está. $500 se gastó en su cochecito, ¿no? $500 y dijo que era un cochecito terrible, pero que lo llevaba y traía. Y básicamente, pues así fue creciendo él. Otra de las cosas que quiero resaltar de todo lo que hemos platicado y que me parece súper importante, increíble, es que me dijo, a ver, para muchos superestrellas la cuestión de ser ellos mismos funciona muy bien. Para Ciampa no, porque él era muy tímido y entonces esa personalidad no le iba a resultar. Y resulta que cuando él estaba en clases, ¿no? De lunes a viernes, se daba cuenta que si hacía un personaje que no era él, funcionaba mucho mejor. Y que a pesar de que todos los demás digan, no, tú tienes que, no, no, para él, la onda de cumplir tus sueños es trabajar súper duro, súper duro para lograr, y más en esta industria, en WWE, tienes que trabajar duro. Resumido en cuentas, básicamente eso se trata. So, now, almost, 16, no, I think more than 16 years since you started your career, as you said, because you said that
17
you
now,
started
yeah.
17.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, something like that. So I would like to know what has been your biggest challenge in this industry?
I think overcoming, like, you know, the noise between your ears, like the inner voice, because it's just, it's a lot of times, you know, whether you have opportunities that get, you know, doors slammed in your faces, or you're told no, or, you know, it's hard to get people to believe in you often, especially early on when you're trying to prove yourself. And it's just having self-doubt was the hardest part for me to overcome, because I felt like for 15 odd years coming up, I kept trying to like prove my worth. And I always felt like, oh, I have whatever that something is. I have some sort of ability, and I just need the right opportunity, the right stage, the right scenario, opponent, whatever it be. And I mean, I was very, very fortunate that I found my groove when I was in NXT on such a big platform, such a big stage, getting Hunter and Sean to trust in me, and having a guy like Johnny to learn from and to wrestle with and work with and stuff. So like it worked out really well, because up until that point, you know, it's hard. There's times you're like, oh, should I quit? Am I not good enough? Whatever it be. So that's the hardest part, I think, for anybody. It's the confidence. I always say that with all the guys and girls coming up to, like, the best thing as a coach you can give somebody is confidence. And the worst thing you can do as a coach is take someone's confidence away. Because it doesn't matter how talented they are or their work ethic. If they don't have confidence, they're not going to succeed. And if they have confidence, they can overcome any lack that they have. Like if you're not the best technical wrestler, or you're not the best promo, but you have somebody really giving you confidence and coaching you, you're going to do really well. You're going to over exceed your ability. So that's been huge for me, because I think for a long time, I wanted other people to give me the confidence. And then I eventually I learned I have to, like, it's got to come from within. Like, you have to have self-confidence, like, you know, so that when somebody tells you you're not good enough, like it just kind of like goes in one ear and out the other now. Cause it's like, no, I am, like, I'm really good at it, but it's like, thank you for your opinion. It's fine. But like, you have to have that ability, like, of just kind of going through the ebbs and flows and becoming, like, if you give me a microphone now, or you give me 10 minutes in a ring, or whatever it be, just an opportunity, like, I'm very confident that I'll make the most of that opportunity.
Yes, and actually, the things that you're saying, it reminds me when I was a kid, you know, because some superstars or some people, they have luck with their families or whatever, that they put all the confidence in them. But for example, people like me, or maybe like you, or a lot of people that they want to accomplish some goals, we need that, you know, but inside of us. So, because always you can hear like, no, you're not skinny, you're not pretty, you're not handsome, you're not stronger, or whatever. But this is something really important. You have to trust yourself and mute that voice, all the voices that you can hear.
Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of noise and a lot of gray and stuff. And like, I had a lot of problems with just self-confidence and just like having depression and stuff like that in my early years. So overcoming that, I won't even say overcoming it, because I do think that depression is a thing that you just continue to battle. You know, you don't just beat it. It's not like it just goes away, but you continue, you learn tricks and you learn triggers and you learn what to avoid and you learn how to overcome. But like, it's just, I've had a lot of good experiences to get me to where I'm at. And then having a daughter, that changes things, because then it's like, I'm constantly thinking, how do I want to raise her and teach her? And how do I want to instill that confidence in her? Like, I want her inner voice to be positive. I want her inner voice to be that she believes in herself, that she can do anything, that she's great the way she is, you know? So when you are teaching that, then it reinstills it for you, because like, you got to practice what you preach, you know? So it's just, that's a big thing. I think that's big and it's everywhere. It's not just in wrestling, but it's across the board. Anyone can relate to it. It's like just having that mindfulness, that, like, I remember the first time somebody told me you can control your thoughts, it blew me away. Like, I kind of always thought, like, your thoughts are your thoughts. Your thought, like, oh, if I'm thinking this thing, then it's true. And then I started to realize, oh, whoa, just because I'm thinking it doesn't mean it's necessarily true. I can stop thinking it. I can question my thoughts. There's been a lot. Like, we had I don't know if he's called a mental health coach, but he was a coach down at the Performance Center, and his name's Justin Sua. And he opened my eyes up to so much. I still keep in touch with him today, and he has a podcast and stuff where he just gives quick tips. And it's just learning that and like listening and hearing that and being open to other people teaching me and stuff. that's huge. So like for anyone out there, that's a huge thing. If you can start to get into that, like self-awareness, mental health, like positive reassurance, like it really helps your career, you know?
I think that's the secret, and we need those kind of secrets or classes or whatever lessons since
Mm-hmm.
we're kids. All the
Yeah.
kids, we need those kind of educations.
Yeah.
We really need it.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to translate. It's a
Yeah.
lot of, but I will try. I will do my best. A ver, wow, qué buena plática que me estoy aventando ahorita con Ciampa. Es así como de que mi brother. Eh, pues estábamos hablando ahorita acerca de que, sí, ¿cuál ha sido su secreto, digo, su challenge, su reto más grande en estos años que lleva, ¿no? Y me dijo, esto, no hay alguien afuera, todo es adentro, una cuestión de, ya, o sea, cuando tú estás haciéndolo todo, hay muchas personas que te van a estar diciendo, no, no lo puedes hacer, no, no lo eres lo suficientemente, bla, 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 bla. Y él dijo, eso lo tienes que silenciar por completo y saber por qué lo estás haciendo, confiar en ti, a pesar de que nadie más confíe en ti. Entonces, también habló de que, pues, ahora que está en NXT, ha tenido grandes gurús que han confiado en él, porque eso también es bien importante cuando tú conoces a alguien que te dice, a ver, yo confío en ti y aquí va, entonces eso marca la diferencia en todo. Y él me decía, eso es lo que yo estoy intentando hacer también con mi hija y es lo que yo le decía, yo creo que necesitamos más educación para los niños, que sea desde chiquitos, donde tú conozcas y digas, ¿qué es lo que pasa aquí? Saber que no todo lo que pasa aquí es real, que la mayoría de las cosas no son reales, pero que pongas todo el esfuerzo en ti. Eso es lo que radica el éxito. A ver, esto ya lo sabemos. Yes. No, you said that. Well, I will ask you again, but hey, one of the questions, I look at you and I say, oh my God, I think you're training all the time. But you explained to us that you train and the rest of the day you share with your kid, right?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So that was the question, but we mentioned
Okay.
before, okay? A ver, pues la pregunta ahorita era esto, como de, bueno, ¿qué haces en tu tiempo libre porque te ves muy bien? Y él me dijo, a mí no me interesa estar en el foco, a mí me interesa ser y estar con mi familia y estar casado y compartir con mi hija. Now let's move to WWE, okay? So, I'm not really clear on everything that's been going on with Mustafa. Because at the first time, it was supposed that it was a match you against him, but after that, Miz appears and he helps you. And so, I want to know what is going on with Mustafa.
Well, there's not a lot going on with Mustafa. It's just, I think it's more a personal thing for me. It's less to do with him than it is to do with what my goals are. Obviously, in NXT, I did a really good job of making a name for myself and standing out from the crowd, getting attention. And I think I've been, circulating backstage at Monday Night Raw for a bit now. And it seems pretty obvious that you have to kind of step outside the box to get it, get opportunities, create opportunities for yourself. You have to make a name for yourself. You have to, you can't just fall in line. You kind of have to do your own thing. So right now it's just about trying to get some attention and make sure people recognize that, Ciampa's on Monday Night Raw now and I'm here and make an impact and see where it goes. So really it's just trying to find opportunities for myself, to create opportunities for myself. And Mustafa was just returning, kind of had a target on his back in his own way. He was very, very vocal. He talks a lot. He chats on social media a lot, does a lot of stuff that I don't really do. But regardless, he was noisy. He was kind of the squeaky wheel. So he seemed like just an easy starting point for me. But I think the best is just yet to come. The exciting part for me with Monday Night Raw is that there are 20 or so brand new opponents for me. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and AJ Styles, Edge. The list goes on and on. Cody Rhodes now. There's so many people I could step in the ring with for the first time, or people I haven't stepped in the ring with, for 5, 6, 7 years. And that's the part that was the most appealing to me. That's why I wanted to make the move. Same thing with SmackDown. There's just so many people who are so talented who I want to share the ring with. I want that opportunity. So Mustafa is one of them. I think he's very talented.
Yeah.
And I would just like to have that Raw platform, which is a much bigger stage than NXT was, to just show people what I'm capable of. So this is just kind of step one, and it's got nothing personal with Mustafa. It's just a matter of giving myself a platform, giving myself a starting point.
Ok, muy bien. Pues entre Mustafa y Ciampa no hay nada personal. Básicamente él está buscando que digan, ya llegó Ciampa, ahora sí a Raw. Porque dijo, a ver, la verdad es que yo quiero, eso es lo que estoy buscando oportunidades para tenerlas ahí enfrente y que todos digan y que vean de lo que yo soy capaz. Por supuesto que hay un Seth Rollins, por supuesto que hay un AJ Styles, un Edge, Cody ahora, y me encantaría tenerlos a todos ahí enfrente de mí, pero por algo tenía que empezar. Entonces yo empecé con Mustafa. Abre la boca, es bien bocón en redes sociales, bla, 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 eso es su cosa. Iba a decir otra cosa, pero yo aquí lo que estoy haciendo es buscarme oportunidades, ¿ok? So, what about The Miz?
What about The Miz?
Yes, because I mean,
I
he
find
was your
him to
referee.
be interesting.
Yeah.
I find him to be entertaining. He's a 2-time Grand Slam champion. He's the only 2-time Grand Slam champion. I remember as I was coming up, I remember the time that The Miz was kicked out of the locker room. I remember the time that he was, shunned upon, and people thought that he didn't belong. And he's overcome all of that, and he's become a megastar, larger than life sports entertainer. And I feel like there's elements to that I would love to take from, because I did the independents. I was fairly successful. I did NXT and I was very successful there. But WWE Monday Night Raw, that's a different stage. It's a different game. There's different elements to it. And I think Miz is one of the people who has had the most success. So there's an interesting element to him. I've shared the ring with him before. I've also been on Miz TV before. So there's something there. I don't know what that is, but whether it's friend or foe, I'm interested to find out what kind of chemistry we might have together.
Wow. I loved your vision and your mentality.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei Ciampa.
The old man Ciampa. That's it. That's years in NXT as the veteran. That's what happens.
Yeah. But your mentality is great.
Thank you.
El Miz, estábamos hablando acerca del Miz. ¿Qué pasa con el Miz? Me dice, es una mega superestrella, una mega estrella. Yo nunca había escuchado esa palabra. Ya estoy emocionada porque ya escuché una palabra nueva. Entonces, es una mega estrella que ha conseguido todo. O sea, es el único que ha sido 2 veces Grand Slam campeón Grand Slam. Y a pesar de que toda la gente cuando llegó era como que lo peluceaba y decía, no, o sea, no pertenece aquí. El Miz lo ha logrado todo y él dijo, mira, de amigo, por supuesto, pero también me interesa mucho saber cómo es que ha llegado a lograr tanto. Eso está padrísimo. So, the Judgment Day is recruiting some members. Do you see that Edge post a picture of you on Twitter? I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I saw it. I don't know if he's fishing for likes, maybe, or attention. I don't partake in the what if game. I'm a bit more of a realist. I'm a bit more of a take on things that are real, that as they come, in the present moment. It's hard in any business, especially this business though. Like if you get too consumed with the past, which is behind you, you can't change it, you can't do anything about it. Or you get too consumed with the what ifs, the future, this might happen. You get worried, you get anxiety, you get stressed out. I feel like you're wasting your energy. Like, instead of doing that, I just deal with exactly what's going on today. You know, today I'm going to work out, I'm going to swim, I'm going to hang out with my kid, I'm going to, you know, we have a play date scheduled later. I'm going to do that. It's hard to waste my energy on what ifs or tomorrows. I like Edge. We get along. I've known him quite a bit more since neck surgery. We got to know each other. But, you know, if the opportunity comes, it comes. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm pretty good as a solo act. But I don't partake a lot in that social media game where you just are, I don't know. I'm not trying to put stuff out there just to get people talking. It's not really my thing. If it comes and it happens, I think it'll be a great moment. And if it doesn't happen, I think I'll be okay either way.
Oh, thank you for that, Sensei Ciampa. I understand that the present is the only moment. Yes, thank you. But it's true. It's not just in WWE. It's in life. I mean, if you want to avoid suffer or whatever, just be here in the moment, present. Así, gente. Tan. Yo le dije, ¿qué onda? ¿Viste el post que posteó algo Edge de ti, de Judgment Day? Y me dijo, sí, pero yo estoy tratando de vivir aquí y ahora. Si me voy después, si estoy pensando, me va a dar ansiedad. Si vivo en el pasado, me voy a poner triste y no va a servir de nada. A vivir en el momento. Ahorita tengo que hacer eso, estoy contigo, después me voy a ir con mi niña, that's it. Y si llega, qué bueno que llegue y ya lo viviré. Si no llega, pues ya no llegó y ya está. Chao. Muy bien. So, not only here you have a loyal fan, also the WWE Universe considers you as an NXT icon. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor. NXT was my home for a long time. I still kind of consider it home, to be honest with you. That black and gold brand, specifically, the stuff that we were able to do and create, you know, it's going to hold a very special place in my heart forever. I feel like we got to write our own story there. And that's the coolest part to me. And Johnny and Undisputed Era and Finn, while he shared it with us. There's just so many of us, you know, Alistair and everybody. Yeah. It's just, as a wrestler, I think the coolest thing you can do is leave behind some sort of legacy and a story that you're proud of. And what we did as DIY, specifically with Revival and then the Cruiserweight Classic and splitting up in our feud, like that's something I was very hands-on with. I got to give a lot of input to it. The creative process is very different in NXT. Yeah. Especially at that time, like we were all creating together. I think without being an ECW, I think it had a very ECW feel. Like we had an empire behind us, of course, but it felt like a grassroots project. Like the people were like feeding us. That was our energy. And we were trying to outdo ourselves and have the best takeovers and the best shows. And it was cool because we got to take a brand. When I got there, we were just starting to do a couple takeovers. We weren't really doing live events on the road much. And by the time got to the pandemic, we were on the road twice a month for 4 days every month. And we were doing takeovers every couple months. We were like a legit third brand, got a television deal. It's really a shame. I mean, obviously the pandemic was bad in so many ways, but for NXT too, it was a shame because I think if that didn't happen and we kept the live crowds and that energy, I think it could have I think it'd be a legit third brand today. I really do. I think it would be doing extremely good numbers on USA. I think it would be continuing to be doing takeovers. I think a lot of the roster could have stayed intact. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. And you know, you get a lot of those like Mount Rushmores and stuff, and to see myself in there with Johnny and Finn and Adam and Bailey and Sasha, and it's like that's awesome company. That's really cool, and it's awesome that the fans remember what we did and value it.
Qué bonito. Pues la pregunta ahorita fue acerca de cómo se siente de que el universo de WWE lo consideran como un ícono de NXT. Y dijo, a ver, es que las cosas también son diferentes. Una onda, por ejemplo, ahora las historias se construyen de forma diferente, la forma de entrenar es diferente, todo es diferente en NXT. Y su corazón, a pesar de que está ahí, sabe perfecto que también pues ahora hay una evolución que tiene que hacer, pero que lo agradece mucho porque una Sasha Banks, Johnny Gargano, todos los que han estado aquí son los que están haciendo construir esto, ¿no? Que este imperio se haga mucho más fuerte. Entonces, básicamente eso. So I have to say something like Sorry. So the first match when I arrived here, when I came in this company 3 years and a half, it was yours. I mean, you were there, and to me, I was really surprised, and I said like, "Oh my God," because it was you against Johnny,
Okay.
3.5. And now, for example, that I saw you there in Raw, I'm really happy because I know that you really deserve this. But I want to hear from you. How do you feel in the red brand now?
Yeah, good. It's timing, right? Timing is everything in life, and this is perfect timing for me. I got to spend the first 3 years of Willow's life at home, especially with the pandemic happening, but NXT wasn't traveling at all. And I got to be here every night for bedtime and for so many moments, you know, first words, first walking, first day of school. I got to, it was important to me. It was important to me to be a part of that. And not that it's not important now, it is, but she's old enough now where she understands when daddy goes on a plane and when daddy travels and when I'm going to be home in 2 days or 3 days or whatever it be. So the timing is perfect in that sense for my home life. Claro. It's also perfect for physically. Like I had a lot of concerns after neck surgery. I wanted to take my time. I wanted to have a few matches and see how I felt, get on a couple airplanes and see how that felt. Knock on wood, the recovery has been better than I ever anticipated. So it seems logical now to start to increase the load a little bit and see how I can do with that in a smart way. So it was all timing the whole time for me, you know, like just making sure I was happy with what I did at NXT. I was happy with 2.0 and my role and being the first champion of 2.0 and then watching Braun Breaker develop. Like there's just so much stuff that all lined up. My career, my physical well-being, my home life. So this is a great time to take on Raw and prepared for it mentally, physically, spiritually. I'm just ready to do it. And I have a lot of good feelings about it. It's just a matter of opportunity. You know, I control what I control. So, and I also know to let alone the stuff I don't control. So if the opportunity comes, I'll be ready to hit a home run. And that's all I can do is just, I'm prepared. It's just going to come my way.
Perfecto. Qué gran respuesta. Ahora que está en Raw, básicamente cerramos con esta cuestión de que dice, yo tengo que aprovechar mi oportunidad después de que de todo lo que he trabajado, ahorita las cosas se están acomodando, mi hija ya está un poquito más grande, ya entiende que papá se tiene que ir a trabajar, todo se está acomodando para que yo le dé con todo y candela. So this is the last question. I will tell you these words and you will tell me the story, okay?
Okay.
So, self-proclaimed greatest sports entertainer of all time.
Yeah. I believe it. And at the time when I said it, I was in the hot feud with Johnny Wrestling, who I believe at that time, and I think the second he decides to step back in a ring, he'll prove it again, that he's one of the best in-ring wrestlers ever. I think he's a better in-ring wrestler than me. And the reason I came up with the greatest sports entertainer is because that's what I think I am. I think I transcend. I can take the wrestling in the ring, but I can do the promos and I can do the storytelling and the psychology. I think when you put it all together, and that's what the sports entertainer is, right? It's putting every element together, the look, the image, the gear. I think I'm the greatest sports entertainer of all time. I'm sure people will disagree, and that's cool. That's fine. But as the opportunities come and as I share the ring with all the superstars of today, I think we'll slowly find out that maybe I was right all along.
Ok, a ver, pues la pregunta fue, bueno, no fue pregunta, yo le dije, ¿me puedes decir la historia detrás de que se autoproclamó el que entretiene, el mejor que entretiene, ¿cómo se dice entertainer? ¿Como entretenedor? No es entretenedor, el mejor que entretiene de todo el tiempo, algo así, ¿no? Y me dijo, porque eso soy, o sea, soy eso, Básicamente no hay más, a pesar de que estuve con Johnny Gargano, que Johnny Gargano me parece una de las superestrellas más talentosas. Sí, pero ¿qué creen? Que yo estuve reuniendo como todos los pedacitos y eso fue lo que logré. Logré autoproclamarme así. No me importa quién piensa que sí, quién piensa que no.